أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون صدق الله العظيم. Ayat number 30 of Surat al-Baqarah. The rabat and connection of this ayah or these ayat with the previous ayat is that in the previous ayat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He mentioned كيف تكفرون بالله, that how can you reject and deny and disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when there was a time when you were dead and then we gave you life, and a time is coming where you will die again, and to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you will be returned. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is that being who has created for you whatever is in this earth. And He established the heavens, made them into 7 heavens. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has knowledge over all things. The previous ayat were related to the disbelief of the kuffar, the disbelievers. They're just looking at the fact that there is creation in itself. That is evidence that there is a creator. Not only that, if we just look within ourselves as human beings, how many things are functioning within us, keeping us alive. But this didn't just happen by itself. There was a very, very great system in works even before we came into this dunya, even before we came into this world. Because there was a time that passed where we were nothing. And a time is also coming again where we will be nothing. How many human beings have come? How many have left? They were known at their time. Now we don't know their names. We don't know where they are. This is the reality of this dunya, the reality of this world. It is a passing phenomena. And we're also subject to this passing phenomena. We started off as nothing. We started off as something dead. We were nothing. We were not known. We didn't even exist. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us life in this dunya, life in this world. This life is amongst the greatest bounties and favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the greatest bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In ayat number 30, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes us to the origin, to our origin as human beings. We live in a very, very strange time in the 21st century. In the Western world, they teach the children in school from a very, very young age a very strange theory, the theory of evolution. And if you try to tell them not to teach this, they tell you, listen, science, it has many levels, many stages. We form a hypothesis, and then from that hypothesis, when we start to investigate, we call it a theory. And until the theory is proven, it is not a fact. For it to become a fact, it has to have factual evidence. So it is up to the children to pick up whether they want to accept this or not. We're just telling them that this theory exists. You can't even debate with them that what they're teaching in school is something very, very strange. But the reality is that children, at a very young age, What they pick up at that young age, that is what will stay with them for the rest of their life. This aqaid and the beliefs at a very, very young age. That is the time to train them and to teach them. But in the schools they're taught this theory that they came from monkeys. There was a time where there was monkeys and then the monkeys turned into humans. And then they give this example that they were dinosaurs and now we have lizards, and there were these huge birds and the birds became small, and there was these mosquitoes that were the size of cars, and now they're these small mosquitoes. So it seems like everything that was big got smaller, but the small monkey became bigger and became a human. Ya subhanallah. It's a strange theory. But anyhow, they have this strange theory which has no factual evidence behind it. Rather, the very person that came up with this theory himself didn't even believe in it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran our origin. And there was a time وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, here in ayat number 30 of Surat Baqarah. That important was the time when your Rabb said to the angels, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً, I'm going to make my vicegerent on this earth. I'm going to put in this earth my vicegerent, my Khalifa. قالوا, the malaika, they said, the angels, they said, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا, are you going to put a creation in this earth that will cause mischief in the earth? وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاء, and that will shed blood. وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ, when we, the angels, were glorifying your praises. وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ, we're sanctifying your name, doing your tasbih. قَالَ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the angels, إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, I know what you don't know. The angels or the malaika, they made this reservation when they were given information that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to create a creation on this earth, and this creation will be insan or human beings. How did the angels make this kind of prediction that mankind will cause fasad, will cause mischief, or they will shed blood, that they have some kind of knowledge of the unseen? No, the angels before us human beings, before we human beings were put on this earth, and again we're going back into the ahadith and the details of the tafseer and the way the mufassireen have explained. It's amazing how science catches up then later on. But when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this earth and created many elements of this universe, going all the way back to the beginning of this creation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth as one. We're told in Surah Al-Anbiya, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا. Don't the disbelievers see that we created the heavens and the earth? They were one, they were attached. فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا, then we tore them or we split them. Now they're getting these big awards for the Big Bang Theory. This was mentioned 1400 years ago in the Quran, subhanallah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the next jumla, in the next sentence of Surah Al-Anbiya, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ, we have made every living creature from water. So now the science has twisted this sentence, where there is water, there is life. This is copyright from Quran. Now they're looking for water on the moon and looking for water on Mars. You ask them why, they say, well, if there's water there, there's life there and we can exist there. This is mentioned in the Quran. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the heavens and the earth as one. فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, then we tore them. The reality of tearing is that when you tear something in half or into pieces, each piece that you're tearing it further away from the other piece. Otherwise you cannot tear it. So they have one, the Big Bang Theory. Now they have another theory called the ever-expanding universe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this in the Quran already. But anyhow, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the elements of this universe, So the planets and the stars, they were fire, they were explosion, they were exploded and they were nothing but fire. This earth was also nothing but fire, known as magma. When you go to the core of this earth, you start digging, you find magma. This is the same that comes out of volcanoes when volcano erupts. But this heated rock, very extreme heat, this produces a type of flame that cannot be seen by the human eye. There are various elements to this level of steam, or this level of fire. We human beings, to some degree, we have also managed to mimic that fire, to bring that level of heat or intensity of heat. It happens in the nuclear power plants when they have certain levels of heat. The only way to know that it is hot is that you look at the opposite side where there is metal, and the metal you'll see a hole through it. There's intense heat coming or steam coming from the nuclear reaction of the radiations. Anyway, we're not going to go into nuclear science. That's not the topic here. But that intense heat produces something that is not visible to human eye. And this is referred to as marijim min nar, the origins of the fire when you get into it. This is the very creation from which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the jinn. Nowadays, we have many stories about the jinn. They somehow, in many cases, we've heard stories, they possess people and people see them. And they try to tell us how the jinn looks. It has backwards feet or backwards. And the word jinn in Arabic means something you can't see. So if you're seeing it, this is not jinn. This is hallucination. Stop doing drugs. Anyhow, this is not jinn. Okay. Sometimes at nighttime your mind makes up things. You see some light and some shadow, and mashallah, all of a sudden, human mind is amazing. You can make up anything. Human imagination, subhanallah. But jinn is something you can't see. Once you see it, you have a problem. They come to us, they tell us, the shuyukh, oh Shaykh, have you ever seen a jinn? What kind of question is it? We can feel the effect of jinn. Yes, shaitan is always affecting us, distracting you in your salah, distracting you in your wudu. So he's jinn, kana min al jinn. Shaitan was from the jinn. But anyhow, this jinn, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them from the marijim min nar, the very source of the fire. Very intense heat. And they're able to emit a kind of heat that is not visible to human eye. And they live in a kind of realm or a world that is not visible to human sight. They're able to produce that kind of light. There are many kinds of lights that our human eyes cannot see. We cannot see ultraviolet rays. We cannot see gamma rays. We cannot see X-rays. Many different forms of lights human eye cannot detect. We cannot see it. Yes, you can feel it. When you stand outside in the sunlight, you feel the heat of the sun. These are all the rays and the lights that are affecting you. So the jinn, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created them from this fire, from the very core nuclei of the earth, or the magma of the earth. When the earth was just a ball of fire. At that time, the jinn or jinnat, they ruled the world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them rulership of that earth when it was nothing but fire. Fire has different unique characteristics, and these characteristics we find also in the jinn. For example, light can give off, it can emit various, with light we can give off different types of pictures. All these phones that we have, there's nothing but light. And all this Facebook and this Twitter and whatever else is out there, and this YouTube and the Google, the internet that we're looking on our phones. What is the phone screen? Nothing but light. Take the light away, it's finished. So light has this ability to give off various forms. That's why the jinnat also, they have the ability to take various forms. We're not going to get into all the aspects, but coming back to the jinn, they rule the earth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them from this fire. And the nature of fire is that it has the nature of being very impulsive. So the jinn or jinnah, they were very impulsive. Their nature was this. They used to fight all the time. They could never agree. They were also had intense power. There are various levels amongst the jinn also. In the jinn world, there's still a hierarchy and there's still slavery. We humans, we may have gotten rid of it, but in the jinn world, there is still hierarchy and there's still slavery. And we're not going to go, but there are different levels. At the highest level, you find the ifrit. These are also mentioned in the Quran. Very, very powerful jinn. Some of them even in physical size, almost the size of mountains. Very, very powerful, very, very fast. Our journey in their physical form, they can travel with great speeds. And then you go down the levels, you have the ghilan, and you have the hin, you have the jinn, you have different levels within the jinn, or the jinnat. Some human beings have interacted with some of these levels. They came in various forms. We human beings have made up myths about that afterwards. The ghilan, in Arabic, they have the ghoul, or this kind of rotten looking human being. Now they have also zombies and whatever else they have. But this came from all of this. But these are the different levels of jinn. But there is this hierarchy of control amongst them. And on the very, very top level all the way down, they used to have wars. One jinn with all of those that were under him and his armies used to attack the other jinn. And so much war that even life became difficult. Point came that only the very, very powerful were alive. Everyone else was destroyed. And there was no chance of further existence of this type of jinn. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered the malaika, or the angels, some malaika, some angels, to go and destroy the vast majority of the jinn that were oppressors. They were zalimeen. They were oppressing all the other jinn or jinnat. Being very, very impulsive in nature, many of them were very arrogant. They indulged in also various forms of dhulm and oppression. Remember one thing, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will tolerate kufr. He will tolerate that you may associate partners with Him. He will leave that on this earth. But when it comes to dhulm and oppression, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He doesn't tolerate dhulm for very long. He doesn't tolerate oppression for very long. Regardless of whether the oppressor is Muslim or not, but for very long, you will find, go through the history. The superpowers that have passed, if you read the history, go towards the end of when they had their downfall. If you go read that time, you'll find that many of them ended up involving in oppression and oppressing people. Anytime a nation oppresses others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not leave that nation for very long. They may prosper for some time. And you may think that there is no way that they will be destroyed, there will be no way that they will be taken out. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring about such condition that in a very short time, there will be nothing left of them. Some of these empires are so great, they used to say the sun did not set on Great Britain. Now on a cloudy day, it doesn't even rise on Britain. Anyhow. But this is the reality of dhulm, of oppression. Go read the history, what they did, how many people they oppressed, what happened. So these jinnat or jinn, they were oppressing the other jinn. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the malaika, the angels. And the angels, they're a very, very unique creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're created from a special type of nur, a special type of light that the jinn could never ever even get close to matching that kind of light. So some of these jinn or jinnat, they waged war on the angels. Very foolish thing to do. And the malaika, they were already given the order to wipe them out. Very short time. And the malaika ended up destroying the vast majority of the oppressive jinn or jinnat. But these angels and malaika, they were given also another hukum, a command by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you also, while you're destroying the oppressors, all of those that are oppressed, that are weak, including the young children, take them under your wing and raise them. Take care of them. So amongst the children, there was also one named Iblis. Hence the story of Shaitan. So Iblis, he was also on this earth. And there Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at that time, once the oppressors of the jinn were wiped out, the earth was still a ball of flame. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed for this earth to be created in the form that we have today. A crust came from inside the earth. Water Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent in the form of rain for a very, very prolonged period of time. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down mountains. They established the earth. The earth and the water were kind of wavy. Everything was like water. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down mountains. وَالْجِبَالَ أَوْتَادًا, they were made as pegs. The earth stabilized. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the surface of the earth, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma, he mentions that then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent massive horses. After this rain, they were sent to trample on the clay. The earth was sent, the clay was there. Massive horses came and trampled on the clay. Now we call them dinosaurs. Their new discovery. So, after this trampling on this clay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a flame from heaven. I'm reading out of the Tafseer. This is not some science book. But a flame from heaven came, wiped out the massive horses. But through that heating, that clay was then left in its most original form, the nuclei of the clay, which are the major elements of this earth, iron and copper and metal, whatever the main origin, the nuclei of the clay. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then took that nuclei of the clay and created insan, created Adam alayhi salam. Inshallah we'll continue tomorrow. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of us the tawfiq to practice His deen. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالقرآن وزين أخلاقنا بالقرآن ونجنا من النار بالقرآن وأدخلنا في الجنة بالقرآن. اللهم اجعل القرآن لنا في الدنيا قرينا وفي القبر مونسا وعلى الصراط نورا وفي الجنة رفيقا ومن النار سترا وحجابا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.